Wondered when this would happen. And already I've seen people, like, they're saying UNC's leaving the ACC and going to the SEC.
Start.
All right.
Stop.
Like, if ESPN allows it, blah, 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 blah. All right. Stop. Stop it. This is what happens when the season is over. And the people who you are saying are doing this is the only thing that they do to get views. It is clickbait. It is realignment porn. I'll run my realignment porn thing. We have it still. I'll run it on this show if it continues into tomorrow. I have no problem taking 7 minutes off and rerunning that and saying, look, here's the people you need to listen to. Dennis Dodd, Ross Dellinger, Brett McMurphy, Pete Thamel, Andy Staples, people like that who talk to actual administrators and coaches. The people that you are talking about don't even know, like, don't talk to them at all.
But don't you know you can't?
Especially if one of them is one you told me, that used to work here.
Oh, don't believe a damn thing. No.
So I shouldn't have said that word, but he, like, don't. Don't. All right? I don't, like, don't.
Don't you know, though, Paul, you can't trust established media anymore?
I guess not.
Thanks.
Establishment media.
I'm going to cut it off. I shouldn't have said that word. It was really bad. I usually don't give him oxygen, but it drives me absolutely insane that every year, as soon as the season's over, we've got these dorks, these realignment dorks that just like, oh, here's how it's going to be. And look, I'm not saying it's not going to go down that way, but why is the ACC going to agree to any of this? They have 2 schools that are suing them right now. They're just going to let UNC out because the SEC wants them? It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Because they got Bill Belichick.
I shouldn't even have said anything about it. Dear God. Yeah. Yes, Conundrum Gaslighter. Yes, that's a good thing. It's your fault. You told me about this. I'm mad at you today. I was happy enough to go along not thinking about them. I was like, well, this is going to be a year where we really don't, because there's not a lot, especially with the house settlement and everything else going on. Like, I don't see that. I'll tell you, I think FSU, like, the ACC is going to stay intact until probably about 31. Like, that's going to be the agreement of, like, okay, we'll shorten it 31. We'll let everybody, when everybody's out in the market, we'll see what happens next.
Especially the success of getting 2 teams in the playoff, too, as well. I mean, I don't know. But I think, I don't want to talk about it because it's boring.
Yeah.
But, I've done my own research on this, and I just think that y'all should know. No, man, listen to reporters.
Yeah.
Like, it's pretty simple.
Yeah.
The distrust of, like, anything is baffling. Just listen to the guys that, like, are doing the breaking news, actually.
Yeah. So
it's pretty simple.
It's just, there are people who are plugged in and there are people who pretend to be plugged in. And here's where you know the difference.
The pretend to be plugged in guys, I will say this, is like somebody who has, like, seen all the aggregate, and Twitter's a cesspool, but, like, the idea that, like, they're getting their news from actual, are forming their own opinions from people that have actual knowledge of the situation, or if they're not, they're straight up lying.
Yeah.
It's like, you got to put in the byline, so-and-so is reporting, and I'm reporting what he is reporting.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's that simple. Otherwise, it doesn't exist. It's in the ether. It's what's Wolf of Wall Street. It's fairy dust.
Yeah.
There is no number.
Yeah. It's Fugazi.
It's a Fugazi.
Yeah, that's what it is. And so, you know what? Forget about the Super Bowl. I don't care what you think. I'm going to spend the rest of the time talking about this.
I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah. So, no, but I mean, it's true. Like, and again, like, I'm kind of yelling into the void at Conundrum here, but I'm just trying to do you a service, man. again, the reporters that know this, here's how you know the difference. A real reporter will not use the words "my sources." They will just say
Sources.
"source" or "sources." And when I tell you, when those people, when it's McMurphy and Dodd and Staples and they say "source," they're going to back that up with who that source was more than likely once the
Reporting comes out.
once it's actually official.
Yeah.
Because here's how it works. Royden is my source. He's the athletic director at North Carolina. And I call up Royden and I say, "Hey, Royden, are you guys leaving the ACC?" And he goes, "No." And I'll say, "But don't say I said it." Source, UNC not leaving ACC. My sources tell me that is the BS line. That's no. It's not my sources, it's source. Because real reporters know that source is not just theirs most of the time. Mm-hmm. They'll tell the other reporters that they trust, which is why the same 6 guys get to break every story. It's whoever the person that is sending that information out, like, goes down alphabetically in their phone and goes, "Okay, boom, 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 here it is."
It is an in club, and a lot of people are not in it.
Yeah. My sources. So I'm not saying ignore podcast conundrum. I'm saying look who it is. And not everything everybody says, you have to base it on their history and their credibility and what they've gotten right before. And if they're let's throw everything up on the wall, and you throw everything to the wall and eventually something sticks, it doesn't mean you were right. It means you were lucky. That doesn't, you and I are big movie buffs.
Yeah.
We can sit and talk about all the things we think are going to happen in Captain America.
Right.
And if one of them is right and all the rest are wrong, I told you that was going to happen.
It's a Screen Rant aggregate.
Yeah.
That's all it is. You see a Screen Rant article, and people know what I'm talking about. It's just it'll get aggregated on Facebook or whatever, where it's just 10 things that could happen in Captain America, and it's just we told you in a previous article that the Red Hulk was going to be, and it's yeah, but everything else was BS. I didn't.
I told you the Red Hulk was going to be in it. He might be trans. No,
yeah.
Okay, well, let's. Yeah, I guess he might be.
He could, yeah. Anything is
he
possible.
Also might not be, and then so we always said might. Well, why'd you bring it up?
Right.
Why'd you bring it up? So yeah. Conundrum, I get that you're probably a horrible person who does horrible things, and you throw Eric quotes thanks for the teaching lesson. I'm trying to help you out and teach you how the world works. But if you don't want to believe me, don't believe me. Go ahead and believe you can say that I'm the liar, but I'm pretty happy with my record of honesty. And I'll just tell you that it makes no sense to say that the SEC and UNC are just going to happen out of the blue, considering that the 2 lawsuits they have against the other 2 teams are not settled. There's just nothing going on right now. So why are they going to get involved in another one and have this back and forth?
Also, the last time that we had major conference shakeup, didn't it take 2 years for those teams to then join said conference? It's not happening immediately.
And again, the grant of rights is what they're arguing over. So unless North Carolina has magically found a way out of this, which, again, the ACC will fight, because if North Carolina figures it out, then Florida State and Clemson will be like, we're out too.
Yeah.
Or the whole thing's going to shake up. So
the Chiefs are favored by, I think, 1.5.
Now, again, if Ross Dellinger says it, then I will believe it. But I don't see anything that Ross has said today about it. So believe me, Ross would know. This is a guy who doesn't get, and I know, I ruined the Super Bowl thing. I'm on a rant. This is a guy who, he was on vacation last year in the mountains and then had to open his laptop because something broke. Because he can't get away from this machine. So if he hasn't said anything about it, I'm just telling you it's probably not happened yet. I don't want to say that it won't, but just to come out of nowhere, and for the people who only thrive on realignment and nothing else, they don't thrive. We could do a full realignment show all the time and maybe get some clicks. In fact, I'll say our numbers are down since realignment's been down. And I'm sure that's part of it because the realignment dorks don't have anywhere, like we're not providing any kind of realignment fodder for them. I'm fine with that because I'm fine with not just making shit up to try to drive what we do. And so you've kind of hit one of my pet peeves here, which is the realignment pornographers. If they only talk about realignment, then they're not really reporters. They're just saying things. And I don't even claim to be a reporter. I am a podcaster. I'm just telling you how do I break news?
No.
No. You know why I don't break news? Because that job sucks. I don't want to be Pete Thamel. He's great at his job. I don't want to be him.
Didn't we go over that about, like, of course, like, Wojciechowski got sick, and that was kind of the reason that he moved on. But didn't we go over, like, the Adam Schefters and stuff of how much that job sucks? I think we had a bit on this.
Yeah, I did a segment on that.
Yeah, we did a whole segment on how much that job is like. It's like the bit that, like, Schefter got on the Pat McAfee show and was like, I was in the middle of having sex with someone and had to break some news about a coach being fired.
Yeah.
It's like that is awful, man.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's terrible. It's terrible. You don't want to, like, again, if you're good at that job and you want it, and you're going to make money doing it, that's great. But, you know, Ross loves college football, but he barely gets to cover games now because he's been so good at covering all this other nonsense. So, yeah, if it's not one of those guys, I'm sorry. Like, I don't trust the source.
I just want to completely derail this by asking, just because I've covered it on the news a couple, and we don't have to talk about the Super Bowl anymore, but speaking of somebody that's going on, this is a hard cut transition. Speaking of somebody that's going on 30 years without one, what do we think about Schottenheimer? I just wanted to get...
What do we think about it?
Yeah,
I mean, I mean, I don't think it's a net positive or negative. Like, it's not anything. And here's the thing. It doesn't matter who the coach is of that team. It does not matter. From Chan Gailey on, it has not mattered who the coach is.
Meaning no matter what the talent is on the team or not?
No. I mean, well, the thing is they're not getting – the talent on that team is overrated because they're not really all that deep. And they're good at – like, they're really good at hitting it out of the park. But you can't just rely on home runs. They don't hit a lot of doubles.
Tell that to the 2000 Cincinnati Reds.
But yeah, you can't you can't just hit home runs all day long. You got to get some doubles and singles. You got to steal some bases. The Cowboys they're big boppers, right?
Yeah.
They'll get a Micah Parsons, a CeeDee Lamb. They'll find Tony Romo. They find these things. Like, they get these great undrafted free agents. But this is a group that is not really good at, finding those worker bees and keeping them, because part of the thing is, okay, they're going to lose Osa Odigizua, who is one of their best players this year on defense, a really good defensive tackle. Again, that they drafted in later rounds was a really good find for them. But they're not going to be able to re-sign him because they're so bad at the salary cap that they don't know how to, work these things. And guess where he's probably going to go? He's going to go play for the guy who drafted him, Dan Quinn. The guy who's like, hey, I like this Oso Digizua. He's probably going to be wearing burgundy and gold next year.
Let's do it.
Yeah, see? Shut up, Garrett.
Hey, I'm enjoying my
I just wanted to talk about it because, mostly because I don't want to talk about realignment anymore, but the idea that you watched the press conference, right?
Yeah.
Of course you did.
Every second. Well, not almost every second.
Garrett, did you watch it?
Just the clips we ran. I saw 4 clips from it. It was very boring.
Mostly boring, but interspliced in there was the ramblings of a madman.
Yep.
What happened?
Okay. Would you like me to? I'll teach you how to answer a question like Jerry Jones. I think this would be a fun little thing.
Okay, good. Yeah.
Ask me any question about anything in the world.
Anything in the world.
Anything in the world, and I'll answer it how Jerry Jones would.
What do you think about glory holes?
Listen,
because he talks about that a lot.
Yeah.
Which is not what he thinks it means now in today's context. But anyway,
I
Jerry, what do you think about glory holes?
First of all, before I get into this, I was there when he said it the first time in Oxnard. And Rich Dalrymple, who was the PR guy at the time, came on and said, that's an oil drilling term.
Yes.
And then Jerry said, that's not what I heard. So he knows what it is. He knows what it is.
Saying it.
He knows what it is. So here's the thing. I could go. all over the country, all over the world. And I've been there. I've had a lot of success. I've been in a lot of places. A lot of places have bathrooms. A lot of places have different kind of things. And I can talk to people. And I'll talk to people about what's in those bathrooms. I talk to this guy about what's in that bathroom. I'll talk to this guy what's in that bathroom. And you want to talk about, about glory holes? The thing is, it's not just getting to the glory hole. Like, it is the process of, talking to people about all this. And I've taken a lot of risks. You don't just walk in to a glory hole and, things happen. I mean, there's patience that's involved. You gotta wonder if somebody's sitting on the other side. You wonder, is that person on the other side someone I want to do this to me? I mean, there's a lot of questions you have about it. So when I'm talking about this, and I've had a lot of success. I mean, it was a risk when I went to the first one.
Right.
46 years ago. It was a big risk. And I've taken more risks in the last 5 years than I have in the previous 35. I'll just tell you that. That's because when you go into one, you think about it. You think about all the people who could have been in there before you. Am I at the end of the line? Am I at the front of the line? Is this person enthusiastic on the other side of the wall? Am I just at the end of the shift? I mean, there's a lot of questions you got to ask. I bring all these people. Steven, I'll send him in. I'll send Will McClay. I'll send him in first. I mean, I want to know their opinion on these things. Dak and I'm not worried about the clock on these things either.
Right.
When it comes to Dak, I'll send Dak in that room too. And, sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But I'll tell you right now that, when you put your dinger in that hole, eventually it's going to pay off. And there's nothing I'd rather see than everybody in the Dallas Cowboys put their dinger in that hole.
Yes, Mr. Jones. Actually, the question was about CeeDee Lamb's contract.
Oh, yeah. This might be a recurring bit of just.
I think we have to
just give me a topic, and
it's not. Watch the press conference. It's not that far off. I was trying to cut sound bites for the news to talk about, and the idea that he went up there and was like, you did the bit about the risk, but that's like A+ because he just said like. He just said, Schottenheimer, yeesh. It's like basically what he said. Yeah. He was like, this is the biggest risk that you could possibly take on a head coach. I don't even know his name. Like,
never having been a head coach. That's a risk right there. And what I tell you about osmosis, I mean, he's been around. I mean, not just, that name, Schottenheimer's father, but, Pete Carroll.
He has the McConaughey platitudes energy where it's just like you listen to Green Lights by McConaughey and you're like,
yep.
What? I don't know what journey I was on, but I enjoyed it a little bit. But I don't know where I ended up.
I love it. I love the audiobook.
I read Green Lights, and it was great. And
the
then Garrett's like,
Dude,
Garrett's like, no, you got to audiobook it. So now I need to audiobook it because in my head I'm just reading Green Lights, and he's like, look, how do I keep getting caught in
It's
this
spot
stuff?
on, dude.
I mean, it's, and so, no.
When I was growing up in Uvalde, Texas, my dad used to tell me.
Yeah. Barry Crawford did say a glory hole is the actual name for a fixed round spillway in a lake that exits via a conduit.
Yeah, but it's like, I think it is like an old oil term.
Yeah.
But like he used it again in
the glory holes and smiles is what he said.
Yeah.
Glory. So that's the second time. So he knows these things. But at this point, again, he is going to do things his way because here's what I think there are, and I thought this when my father got old. My dad, if he were still alive, at the same exact age as Jerry. But my dad turned 68, 69. Like, there were just things he would do. Like, he would just walk out in his boxer shorts and get the mail. And it was just like right out the door. It was like 30 seconds that it took him. So it wasn't like he was walking all the way to the end of the street. But occasionally somebody's going to drive by, and I'd be like, Dad, pants. And he's like, I worked hard in my life. I don't have to wear pants. And it happens to everybody. I can't wait to get to that point where Amanda's like, put some pants on it. I'm like, don't tell me I'm a business devil woman. No.
Pants are a government psyop.
But no, I get that. Like, Dad, please okay, well, all right,
Yeah.
I won't be embarrassed. Like, if you're not embarrassed, I'll try not to be. But Jerry is at the, I think this about any old man that's in the White House. If you're over 60 and in the White House, it makes me nervous because eventually they're gonna have to tell you, sir, you have to put your pants on to go to this press conference. And they're like, I've been a senator for 80 years. Sir,
I was passing government funding bills when you were in diapers.
Do you know how successful I am?
Yeah.
I didn't get that way by following societal norms.
You still need to wear pants.
Yeah. So that's where Jerry is. Jerry's at sometimes he's going to go out without his pants on, and everybody around just has to deal with it.
Yeah, somebody compared it to is he was older than Joe Biden.
Yeah.
And he's
Mitch McConnell. Thank you, Paxton. Yeah, Mitch McConnell's a great example of, sir, what do you think about the budget? Oh, he's just in deep thought.
Yeah.
All right, that's going to do it for us today. We've got Mac Rhodes in studio. We have Zach Gelb. I'm leaving somebody out that's awesome. Manny Navarro, actually, we've circled back with him. Hopefully he got the email today. We'll keep trying until he does. We'll have all that coming up in an hour. This is 360. Well, that is 365 Sports. This is the Triple Option. He's Roy Ogletree. I don't know what's going to happen in the Super Bowl next week, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
All right. See you later.